Doctor Who Season 7 came at a time of great change for the program. With no TARDIS and some of the longest, darkest stories in the series' history, there really is nothing quite like it. It may seem like madness in retrospect, but in 1969, Doctor Who was fighting for its life. The viewing figures were at an all-time low, and Patrick Troughton had left the program. Moreover, the BBC no longer had the full rights to the Daleks, the series' most popular villain, and there was a real sense that a new show was needed to fill the gap that Doctor Who would leave behind when it was pulled. Indeed, the script editor Terence Dix was even tasked with coming up with an idea for an alternative program. It's remarkable, then, that Doctor Who Season 7 was made at all. The reality was, the BBC couldn't come up with a series to replace it, and so it made a compromise. It would keep Doctor Who on the air, but make it as inexpensively as possible. The BBC reasoned that if it filmed Doctor Who Season 7 on the streets of London and swapped out space stations for sitting rooms, it could save a huge amount of money. Thus, plans were put in place to have the Doctor exiled to Earth with all knowledge of how to pilot the TARDIS taken from him. And this is one of the first things that makes Doctor Who Season 7 so unique. The entirety of the season is set on contemporary Earth, with 0 trips in the famous blue box. Well, apart from an unexpected visit to a parallel world, but we'll get to that. To add some ballast, the production team had the canny idea of surrounding the Doctor with some familiar faces from UNIT, the United Nations Intelligence Task Force. This military outfit had made its debut in Season 6 with The Invasion, led by the intrepid Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, who had made his debut the previous year in The Web of Fear, assisted by the ever-popular Sergeant Benton, among others. These characters helped to form the new regular cast for Doctor Who Season 7, with the Time Lord effectively becoming a UNIT employee and helping them in their fight against alien threats. That is not to say that Doctor Who Season 7 lacked a traditional companion, though. The production team devised a character to assist the Time Lord in the UNIT laboratory, and this was the scientist Liz Shaw, possibly one of the cleverest and most qualified of all the Doctor Who companions. According to the Brigadier, she has degrees in medicine, physics, and a dozen other subjects, and she is also a qualified doctor. Liz Shaw broke the mold of what a Doctor Who companion could be, and even to this day, there has never quite been a companion like Liz Shaw, so wonderfully portrayed by the late Caroline John. The stage was set, therefore, for a Doctor Who season like any other, and not always in a good way, because before Doctor Who Season 7 had even gotten off the ground, it was hit with strike action that prevented the first serial Spearhead from Spaces from going into the studio. Alas, this was a problem that would continue to plague the program throughout the 70s, hindering and even cancelling the production of many a Doctor Who adventure, most famously the 6-part Shudder in 1979. However, not to be defeated, the producer Derek Sherwin decided to shoot the entire story on film and capture all the scenes on location. This was a bold and costly move, but the result was something that looked like a Doctor Who movie, and it lent the show a polished, big-budget appearance. Spearhead from Space still stands up to this day, and even became the first classic Doctor Who story to be released on Blu-ray. Moreover, the influence of this classic serial from Doctor Who Season 7 extended far beyond its initial transmission, as it also introduced the Aughton's Evil waxwork dummies that terrorized the streets of London. These monsters were the brainchild of Doctor Who veteran Robert Holmes, and were later used as the main baddie when Doctor Who was relaunched in 2005. Spearhead from Space also benefited from the fact that it was 4 episodes long, which is a good length for a Doctor Who adventure. However, it was the only one of its kind in Doctor Who Season 7, as the BBC had also decided to produce longer serials as part of its cost-cutting measures. Thus, every other story in Doctor Who Season 7 ran to an unprecedented 7 episodes. Stories of this length were a rarity in the Whooniverse, and to this day, Doctor Who Season 7 is the only season to comprise of any 7-part stories. Moreover, the tone of these stories is distinctly adult and gritty. There is little camp charm to be found in Doctor Who Season 7, and the show, for better or for worse, takes itself very seriously. This tone peaked with the final story of Doctor Who Season 7 Inferno, which is all about a mad scientist trying to penetrate the Earth's crust with a massive drill. In the adventure, the Doctor is sent to a parallel world and sees the effect that the scientist's drilling has on the planet, and in the parallel reality, the world does actually come to an end. There is a particularly harrowing cliffhanger at the end of Part 6, where the Doctor's parallel friends are wiped out by a lava flow, and he is powerless to stop it. In short, Inferno is perhaps one of the bleakest Doctor Who stories ever transmitted, but it remains a fan favorite. Remarkably for a 7-parter, it treads little water and remains gripping to its end. Change, however, was on the horizon. There is no doubt that the new Doctor and the new format, including the fact that the series was now in colour, had proved popular with viewers, with figures rising to over 9 million during The Ambassadors of Death. But the incoming producer Barry Letts was unhappy with the BBC's plans to have every adventure set on Earth and didn't think the longer serials worked. When Doctor Who returned 7 months later, things looked very different indeed. That is not to say that there is anything wrong with Doctor Who Season 7. It is much loved by huge swathes of Doctor Who fans and produced some truly iconic moments and monsters. But there is no denying that it was distinctly different from anything that had come before, and even to this day there has never quite been a series like Doctor Who Season 7. What do you love most about this classic Doctor Who series, and which is your favourite story? Let us know in the comments below.
Presenting the Doctor Who TARDIS unisex messenger bag from Lavazzi. The bag itself is littered with white silhouettes of the TARDIS on a conveniently TARDIS blue background. It's a simplistic yet effective design and not too over the top. In the centre there's a patch which features the current era Doctor Who logo. I really love how the zippers also feature a small circular Who logo etched into it. The central pocket is quite small, which is convenient for smaller models of phone, although personally I would have liked to see this pocket be ever so slightly bigger. The handles are big and bulky, which is perfect for travel, and if you're not a fan of handles, this bag also comes with a strap, transforming the piece into a shoulder bag. And you guessed it, this also features a lovely TARDIS pattern. Opening up the bag, we are greeted by a lovely lighter grey lining. On one side it features various smaller padded pockets, perfect for your precious things. On the other side, a laptop compartment is present, featuring buttons which holds your electronics in place securely. And of course this is a Doctor Who bag after all, and there is a lovely reference to classic series Doctor Who, featuring an embroidered seal of Rassilon, which is a perfect touch. On the sides of the bag there is additional button straps which, when undone, makes the bag appear to be more rectangular, which is useful for carrying larger laptops and notepads. One of my personal favourite aspects of this bag is the back section, which can be slid over the handles of a suitcase, securing the contents whilst travelling. I found this really useful whilst travelling to and from university. The TARDIS messenger bag is available to purchase now.